I'm so excited we're here together. I feel like the Holy Spirit did a special invitation just for us to spend time together in this space, hanging out with the Holy Spirit, being encouraged by Jesus and being loved on by the Father. And we are hanging out together, I think just kind of ready to just kind of melt into what God has for us. So I'm just going to have us take a deep breath, and just if you want to participate, if you're a non-participator, you don't have to. But I'm just going to have you just take a deep breath. And let's just say yes to everything that God has for us in this coming week and in this hour that we have together, where the Holy Spirit has plans for us, where the Father woke up this morning excited with us going, hey, I have a date together, just especially for us, to talk, to connect. Not that you don't do that all day long, but especially in this place. There's just this appointment that he had with us. And I'm super excited about that. Yay! So we're going to do things a little differently tonight, which I don't even know why I say that, because it's different every night, right? So how does that even matter or make sense? Yes?
You talk about kids and what's going on.
Oh, okay. So we are going to go ahead. What are we going to do on that? I did not hear back from her. Did you hear back? We had a little bit of a snafu on childcare. I don't have it on my phone. It's on yours. Would you just double check? She should be here in about 20 minutes. And in the meantime, I was actually going to maybe send Darby back. So I made a mistake, and we're supposed to normally have our childcare here when we hire, which we don't typically do, but just Andrew was unavailable, and I accidentally put 4:50 instead of 3:50. So that's genius, right? So Darby, I'm going to have you go back just for about 20 minutes until she gets here, if you wouldn't mind, and oversee nursery. And we're going to release kids to nursery. And we are going to go ahead and release all kids to Miss Christie at this point, because we're going to do things a little bit differently tonight, and then we'll have you guys come back a little bit earlier, okay? So that should be fun. We'll see how that goes. Yay! So kiddos, you champions, you superheroes. I love it. My favorite episode, we're watching The Flash.
Yes.
Yeah, right? So good. Okay, what season are you in?
I just finished.
You just finished the whole thing? Okay, so my favorite episode ever is in season 3. We just watched. And HG says, don't you know the Flash's superpower, right, Darby? What? HR. I keep saying HG, didn't I? Sorry, HR. Keep saying, because he's a different person in every episode in the same body. But anywho, he says Flash's superpower isn't his speed. He says, don't you know that his superpower isn't his speed? His superpower is his hope. His hope in all these circumstances and situations. His speed is what implements the hope that's already in him, that things are going to work out. I just love that. So we're going to have a fun little exercise. Are you ready? We have a gentleman who is connected with Desert Outpouring that I had an interaction with this week. And I felt an opportunity from the Lord, an invitation, to hear from him about what he says about this man. So we're going to start off first with that. And so, Lindsay, I'm going to have you come up. Is that okay?
You said what we're here about him?
Yep, about him. His name is Daniel. And I'm going to have Lindsay take this mic. And Greg, I'm going to have you run back and pick a picture, if you wouldn't mind.
Ange?
Yeah.
Do you care if I already know the picture?
I don't care at all. Just tell Greg what it is. I'm sure he doesn't mind at all.
It's the one with the boat in the sand.
Sweet. I love that. Okay.
Spent some time back there.
Yay.
Praying over the picture.
So we're going to be together, Lindsay and me. Hooray. And Greg, if you wouldn't mind walking around and showing everyone the picture. So for those of you who are new, we listen and ask the Lord about people all the time and ask him to share words. And this is a practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's why you practice soccer, you practice gymnastics, you practice singing. You practice because you're learning how to do something with proficiency. And learning how to hear God is no different. Learning how to hear God accurately becomes a proficiency. You learn what's him, you learn what's not him, you learn what's yourself. And so we practice here all the time. This one's totally different. I don't think have we ever done it for someone who's not here? Okay, so we've never done it for someone who's not here, so the feedback's going to be kind of weird, but tune in next week because you'll get feedback because we're going to share it with him. And then we're going to kind of let you in on what the whole story is all about.
Are we allowed to know this person's name?
Daniel is his name.
Okay.
Yep. And then Greg, do you mind writing up on the board what it is that people share? That way we can take a picture of it and we'll have it recorded.
I'm just gonna say,
Well, you'll do generally. Yeah, we'll just try. We'll give it a go. We'll try. So let's just pray.
yeah.
Lord, we love to practice learning how to hear you for ourselves, for our situations, for our children, for our marriages, and for other people. I'm totally taking over your job. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm good.
I'm so used to So what else would you like to pray, Linz? Or
Lord, we
Daniel,
just
take it away.
bless Daniel
Yeah.
right now. And we thank you, Lord, that you love to speak to your children, and that is our right as your children. And we're just so honored that we get to be a part of it. And God, would you just bless him today in just a variety of different ways, be clear with him in his thoughts and in his heart. And Lord, would you just speak to us now, words of encouragement and words of wisdom for Daniel.
Yay. Okay. Anybody ready to go?
Did you put your hand up? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. We're ready for someone to share. Yay, Marcy.
Okay, so the first thing that I noticed was the sail, and it looks like a candy cane, which made me think of sweetness. And then the fact that the sailboat is beached, and normally they're in the water. So what came to me was that there's a sweetness in being beached right now, basically.
Good. That's super good. Thank you, Marcy.
Welcome to our guests.
Yeah. Welcome, CJ and Carlene. We're listening for a gentleman named Daniel, who's not here, actually.
I'll go,
Great.
just while everybody's
Yeah.
thinking. So I saw two things. One is that it looks like it's beached, and there's something in Daniel's life right now that he feels stuck. Like there's a little bit of like a stall. And what the Lord showed me is like that tide is going to come in and pull that boat back out. So you don't sit there and go, oh, that wave won't ever come in. It's just a back and forth motion of seasons of life, where some seasons the tide is high, and then some seasons it's lower, but it's not stuck at any point. It's just in a moment of rest. And the second thing is, I perceive it as like a toy boat, like a little boat. And I felt like somebody else looking at this could see a full-size boat. It could be like a big boat that's totally stuck on the shore. And I felt like God said, it's all in perspective of how heavy or how big you think this particular thing is. It's just a perspective. So shift your perspective and see how light and easy it's going to flow back and forth in that wave.
Okay. That's really crazy good. Because I know more than you all know, so about this person.
We don't know. He's our mystery guest today.
Yeah, it's a gentleman who's connected with Desert Outpouring, and I felt an invitation from the Lord to try this exercise about somebody who's connected with us. Now, you'll hear more about him in the message, but for right now, we're just kind of doing it incognito. You don't know anything really about him other than his name is Daniel, and that's the picture Lindsay picked for him. And what does God have to say to this person?
It's like Mr. Body in Clue. Nobody knows who he is. Do you want to share about that?
Just in my own life, I know, like it says, grow not weary in well-doing, you will reap if you faint not. And sometimes that can be long-standing, you know, and once in a while, like I'll feel almost like a breakthrough, like the breaker come in and then but it not break. But then I'm like, waited forever, wait, did I miss it? But you just keep it on. It's just made me think of that. Interesting.
Can you say that verse?
Grow not weary in well-doing, for you will reap if you faint not. Like hitting a rock over and over, eventually you'll bust through. And sometimes it takes a long time. Lots of patient determination. Not giving up.
Just the fact that that verse came to your mind, like that's a great word, that verse.
Yeah, it does. It's huge. I don't know what the reference.
Grow not weary and
In
I like it
doing-
when you say it because I don't know it.
It's grow not weary in well-doing, for you will reap if you faint not. Perseverance there. Oh, no.
What?
Could you? That'd be awesome.
That's okay.
I don't know
It's
any
okay, we got a
addresses.
recording. Okay. That's so good. This is so fun. You guys have no idea, but you'll know in a few minutes.
Okay, so I feel like part of Daniel's design is he's like Father Christmas, that he gives good gifts and that he's also a really good father.
That's good. Okay, anyone else?
Oh,
It's okay. It doesn't have to be about the picture.
I actually saw like two brothers running in a field, and they were super carefree. But I saw him being wild in his heart, like a lion. So the words I got were strong, mighty, and courageous.
Wow. Wow, that's good.
I don't know, I got something not related to the picture, but I just saw, I saw a guy like a warrior or something with two arms. In one arm he had a sword, in one arm he has a shield, and then he loses the sword arm. I just see God say, you know, I know you thought your purpose was in your sword arm, but I'm doubling the strength of your other arm, and I'm giving you a new purpose with that. That's your shield arm. This is the arm that you're going to use to do other things with.
Wow. That's super cool. All right. Yeah? Okay.
So I don't know how else to demonstrate this, but I need to draw it on the board.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fun.
And I also don't know.
Are
This
you
is
going to
probably
give up
insignificant.
the marker to her? You will, won't you? I'm not allowed to touch the markers, by the way, just in case anyone wanted to know.
Okay,
Super
just
not allowed.
one.
So,
if everyone looks at the picture, there's two lines on the corner. So that's going to be significant in a second. But I see his name spelled out in that picture. And I don't know why, or that's all I see. So the D is the boat. And then the I is the pole. And then the A. And then the N. And the E. And then the L is those lines.
that's so cool.
I don't know, that's all I saw.
really cool.
Does anybody have an interpretation of what that means? Go ahead. It's okay. You can go on your own thought. Either one.
I feel like when you see the picture, you don't see you see a toy boat, but what she saw was a whole new meaning of what that toy boat was.
Yeah. That's good, Ava. Thank you.
I feel like it means that Daniel's to get in the boat.
Okay. Super good. Woo-hoo. All right. Anyone else?
Did you get one?
Oh, that's right. I always promised I would do that, didn't I? Okay. This is hard because I'm so close to the situation. I might have to wait till the end.
That's fine.
Okay.
You don't have to.
That's so
There's
good.
no
Okay.
rules.
There's no rules. Yay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have you flip the board, Greg. And we have been doing a series on vulnerability and appropriate intimacy. Dan's favorite subject, right? We never even talked about this, but I saw the look on your face, and I'm like, oh, clearly this is your favorite. I love it. And I have discovered recently that many of us have been raised in environments that weren't healthy. Shocker, right? And even as healthy as the situation might have been, many of us, due to hurts and pains in our life, have been pushed out of vulnerability and intimacy and into transactional relationships. Transactional relationships where we are trying to get something we need and we are trying to give something in order to get what we need. And even though we won't want to look at our relationship like that, it's kind of how it sometimes falls into. We know that this is happening when we become bitter and angry. Okay, does that ring more bells? When we get bitter and angry in a relationship, when we get frustrated, when we feel like the relationship isn't really, quote, meeting our needs, we are then trying to navigate and negotiate into getting what we want out of that relationship. And so much of what we want out of that relationship is legitimate, right? The challenge, though, is that we often aren't healthy ourselves, and even when it's provided, we don't know fully how to even receive it. Am I hitting? Okay, so I want you to put, if you wouldn't mind, put functional transactional relationships. I discovered that these often look like two terms that have been bantered about, and I'm going to throw up two of them. You may or may not like these terms. Greg is not a fan, even though he has his PhD in psychology, he's not a huge fan of like labeling things. So my comments may not represent, what is the statement they say on shows, might not fully represent this channel. Right? Okay, so dependency, relationships that are where you are the dependent one, is that you are looking for someone else to take care of you, and that's the need that's being met. Codependency is you're functioning in that relationship where what you give is what makes you feel good. So whether you are someone who goes, I don't have anything to give, but I want a wonderful relationship that's satisfying. Or you are saying, it is my taking care of you that makes me feel good and safe and functional in this relationship. Does that make sense? So it's a dependent or a codependent relationship, depending on how much you feel like you have to contribute to the relationship. When that happens, the relationship becomes functional and transactional. Here's the amazing part. I've discovered that that is so much what has happened in the church. We have fallen into or been instructed and trained into, hi, yay, busy bees. Okay, Greg's going to take care of you because I made a total mistake, but okay. So, we have been maybe even trained or instructed into a transactional relationship with God. One of the trainings that we received is that we have nothing to contribute to God, and it is only Him being great and us being nothing that causes that relationship to work. How many were raised in that? Right? How many of you were raised in the codependent, which is, I have to perform for you in order for you to show up and appear? Right? How many of you were raised in both? And it somehow caused this schizophrenic, right, catastrophe in your brain as you tried to be fully dependent and also codependent in this relationship with God. How did we get here? How did we get into these functional relationships? Here's what I'm going to propose, because I don't know 100%. I'm just going to be flat honest. I believe that we get in these kinds of functional relationships because we at some stage of our life are not allowed to honor and value our own feelings and thoughts. And when we are not allowed to honor and value our own thoughts and feelings because of how it affects our caregiver, we learn to suppress our own thoughts and feelings, and either become dependent or a performer in order to make that relationship work. And when you do that at an early age, you then, as an adult, continue to function in those same ways because it's just what you know. And all of us have some level of super great health and a level of super great unhealthiness. But I've discovered that I was specifically trained and instructed to relate to God in super unhealthy ways. Right? And now I'm discovering that this whole door is opened to a whole different place of relationship, which is He always made me to value my thoughts and my emotions. And that would mean that He considers me to be a powerful person. Because only powerful people are able to own their own thoughts and feelings and become, are you ready for this word that most of us like either love or hate? You want to guess what it is? Magnificent. I love that it was magnificent. Responsible. Responsible. Now, here's a better definition of responsible. I'm going to have you put it up here if you don't mind, Greg. When we are really, truly responsible for our ways of relating, it simply means this: we are response-able. We are able to respond rather than knee-jerk, having no idea what we're doing. We are able to respond and choose our responses. That's what responsible means. Made able to respond. We were made to be powerful people who are able to respond in all of our life relationships. And it is impossible to be healthy with others and give them permission to have their own thoughts and feelings if we ourselves do not allow ourselves to have our own thoughts and feelings. And so we're trying to meet each other's needs for intimacy and vulnerability without the foundation within ourselves and the permission to own our own thoughts and feelings. Anybody want to comment? Thank you. She goes, it's good. Anyone, you want to expand on that, Marcy, or anyone? It's okay. Okay. Really? Nobody? So God's make us able to respond to ourselves, to our own thoughts and emotions, to become a powerful person where we are allowed to own our own being. And when we own our own beingness, we give permission for other people to have their beingness. And we no longer have to tell people how to think and feel and be around us in order to have relationship. So change. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little example and how this relates on kind of a spiritual level. So any thoughts or comments or questions so far? Because we'll leap into a life case scenario. Ready? We're good? Okay. Let me see, where am I at on time? Because I don't have my watch battery is dead. Okay, good. Okay, I have two scenarios. Which one would you like to hear first? One about my hair. I know you guys are jumping at that one. You love that one. And one about a design person. Which one do you want to hear first? Thank you. My daughter loves them both. Yeah? Okay, so which one should we go first?
Probably the hair.
Okay, so I used to get my hair done by a wonderful gal. Her name is Kara, and we always did the exact same color, a nice little bright red, a blonde highlight, and a chocolatey brown low light. And I loved my hair. I finally found the system that I liked. It's not how it is currently, just in case you're all wondering. And because you're like, that doesn't look like popping red and caramely brown and bright blonde. No, it doesn't. So yeah, it's not happening. But I loved what she did, and she colored my hair one time. We got it all ready to blow out, and I'm like, that does not look the same. And I had hair that looked almost this red, almost this black, and absolutely this white. So it looked like a terrifying Halloween wig. I mean, it was crazy. And as soon as I saw it, tears just started to roll down my face. And I was trying not to cry because I didn't want her to feel bad. I mean, but it was horrible. And so I just was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean, it's okay, but we need to fix this. And I said, what happened? Did you, like, you know, and she said, I use the exact same colors I've always used. And I'm like, I know, right? And I'm like, really? The same exact color? She goes, yes, I've used the same colors. I'm like, okay, so just tell me what we can do to fix it. And she's like, well, I can, you know, so I'd already been there 4 hours. Any of you who do, like, you know, multicolors know that it's like a major investment of your life. And this is why I don't get my nails done, because it's all like in my hair. So anyway, yeah. So I stayed for another 2.5 hours. So I was there for over 6 hours. If she turned my black into like slightly less black, she turned my red into slightly less whatever this is, and then she toned the blondes, you know, to make it. And so it was still like super like, whoa, but it wasn't, okay? And I went home and I went, Lord, what was that all about? Because I felt like, I don't know, I know this sounds crazy, but I felt like personally assaulted, not by her, but by the fact, like, it's just hair. Why does it always have to be a drama? I know, go ahead.
Do you want to tell the other story?
Go ahead.
We moved to Florida. She goes in, and I'm not joking, it comes out Ronald McDonald orange, and came home.
I did, I came home.
In tears. And I said to her, why did you leave?
Yeah, he said, why did you come home?
Why did you leave?
So I had asked for a hairstylist in Florida from the network, you know, because I used to be in television, and so they sent me to this person, first time I've ever been to them, and my hair came back, and it was so bright and so orange that I couldn't go on air because it caused the cameras to freak out. That's, yeah, it was that bad. And I went back to him the next day and I said, we have to fix this. And I said, it's just kind of a super, I said, this color doesn't really even exist in nature. And he goes, no, it doesn't, but it's really awesome, isn't it? And I'm like, oh no, okay. So yeah, so okay, once again, I'm like in this hair scenario. And I'm going, why? Why does this have to be so hard?
At least she didn't come home this time.
And I
was very happy about that.
He was very happy that he's like, this is the fixed version? Okay, good. That's, as long as you're fine.
I can fix a lot of things, but...
Right. Now, there is nothing that I hate worse than hiring somebody to do something and not liking what they do. There's only a few things in the world that I don't like more than that. And I don't even know what those are right this minute. I don't like hiring someone to do something and then hating it. And everyone knows about my patio furniture, like what a beautiful mirror, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm asking the Lord, what happened? And I'm not really sure, but here's what I heard. I heard a really nasty voice inside my head. Anybody heard a nasty voice inside their head? When they ask the Lord a question, you hear a nasty voice inside your head? Right, I mean, okay, I'm not the only one who hears that. And here's what I heard. I did that to you. I did that. Now, that wasn't the Lord, and it wasn't me. It was some other voice that I was hearing, and it said, I did that to you, and I can do it anytime I want. I can make you look like a chain-smoking, I don't know what, right, crazy person. Not that chain smoking's bad, no judgment here. I'm just saying, like, that's, you know, but, I mean, it's kind of unhealthy, but that's your choice. I'm not trying to, like, it was just the image that I had, Cruella de Vil, kind of a thing. I felt this voice tell me that literally, like, something evil just made my hair look like that. And by the way, I was right in the middle of James, that whole verse that was becoming my life verse, which is wisdom that is from above, first of all, is gentle, it is pure, it is willing to yield. And my hair just became something that looked not gentle, not pure, not willing to yield. So here I was in my life, moving towards a place of gentleness and wisdom and a willingness to yield. And I just had hair put on my head that looked like I was anything but that. And the voice I heard was, I can do that to you. You think that you're becoming this, I can make you that. And I went, well, I think that clearly wasn't the Lord. So what do you have to say instead, Lord? And I looked in the mirror when I was at home, and oh, by the way, also I was thinking to myself, well, this is what you get when you hire a stylist who's super affordable. You just aren't hiring someone who's professional enough, right? Super affordable, so they're probably lacking skills, so she didn't realize her formulas were off. And it only took me about 30 seconds to realize, who is it that always blames the human? Yeah, the accuser, not the Lord, and not now me. So if I hear a message that's about blaming someone else, I at least know where it's coming from. And so I went, well, I'm not going to agree with that. Right? We're learning how to come into great agreements. I'm like, I'm not going to agree with that. This is not about her. This is not about her skill level. Isn't that, how many of you guys have been caught in a situation this year where you were doing a transaction with somebody and you went, well, that's what happened because they weren't professional enough. They didn't know what they were doing. I mean, really, right? Yes, this happens. And then you got to land in this place of deciding whether or not the situation is really about that or not. So I asked the Lord again, what is this really about? And here's what he said. You are heading to this place, but there will be things that happen in your life that are pushing in the opposite direction and want to make you look like you're the opposite of who you really are. Doesn't that happen? You start to head in a direction and all heck breaks loose in your life to push you in the almost opposite direction. And here's what the Lord said, but I never let any kind of attack happen to you without giving you a gift basket. I was like, yes, I get a gift basket from God. What's my gift basket? And I know this is really crazy, but this is the gift basket he gave me. He said, for the entire time that you have this hair, which now doesn't look horrific, but it's still super aggressive, I'm going to give you the goodness of me and all of heaven in your face. And everywhere you go, people are going to look at your face and they are going to feel my love. And I'm going to do that while you have this hair on your head. Okay, by the way, how crazy is that? Super, super crazy, right? So I went, well, we'll see. We'll see. Didn't take me but 24 hours, and I had 3 people, one of them a random stranger on the street, walk up to me and say, excuse me. None of them said anything about my hair. Excuse me, I don't know who you are, what's going on, but I feel God loving me through your face. I was sitting down having a lunch with somebody and they said, I'm sorry, I am about in tears. I can't even hear what you're saying because I just feel God loving me. The look that you have in your eyes, it's just like your whole face is like how God feels towards me right now. Isn't that cool? I was like, let's have that hair all the time. It was so amazing. So for the next 3 months while I had that hair, I had all these comments from people about how they felt so loved, so seen, so known by God through apparently whatever expression was on my face. And then the next time I went and got my hair done, it just, done. So it would have been nicer for me to keep that for a longer time, right? Anyway, so I was starting to realize that sometimes there's these things that happen in our life that almost push our life in the opposite direction, but God is wanting to prove something to us. He's wanting to help us know who we really are. And I get to agree with certain things. I get to decide whether or not I'm going to agree that it's this person's fault. I get to decide that I agree that this is my fault. I made a stupid decision going to this hair person. I'm just, this is what I deserve, that is really, really bad hair. Well, I guess this is, if you don't micromanage people down to the very last second, then I guess you don't get what you want. I mean, there's a million conclusions you can run to. Or you can go to a place of just going, something negative happened here, and God wants to do something different instead. Right? Those are the response-able decisions that we get to make in our relationships that contribute to vulnerability and intimacy. Because if we are not able to respond to the attacks that come into our life through who? Usually not random strangers. Usually it's through the people we are closest to. Attacks happen in our life through the people that we are closest to. And we get to become response-able people who are, and I'm going to have you put this up, powerful. Next week we'll be talking more about what a powerful person is and what a powerful person is not. So that might just shake things up a little bit in your house, just a warning. It's going to be super, super good. I'm really excited. But for today, I'm going to share with you one other story, and that is, with that in light, Now you're kind of going to know where we're going to head on this next one. So some of you know that we hired, Greg and I, our church hired a designer to do design work to create a logo so that we could have a few things, like because we had a My Tribe water bottle, like right there, and all the Desert Outpouring people went, that is like not right. We do not have any swag. We need a swag. We need some swag. We need a water bottle. We want a t-shirt. We want Desert Outpouring. I'm like, me too. I've been wanting this forever. And so, you know, a logo and, you know, a couple of items. And so we've been waiting for a long time, and I felt like it was time. It was time for us to have our community, to have, you know, an image that represented us. It's not a huge deal here. Well, you would think, right? So you guys know that this has been a challenge for some reason over the last year and a half, and you would think it's no big deal, right? These are the things that we all say it's no big deal. How many of us have been hugely hurt in our heart by things that are no big deal? How many of us dismiss the things that matter to us by saying it's no big deal? That is not responsible.